Welcome to the party, everybody. Hoping everything's gonna work out here. Okay. So, I gotta get my glasses on. All right, gonna light up the stove here. Awesome. Okay, gotta do a bit of troubleshooting on this stove here for a second. Great. How's it going? So I thought I turned the camera around so you could see me mucking around with the stove, but apparently I didn't. So you guys got to look at the back of my hut here. Is the audio coming through? I was actually filming an ice report yesterday, and I caught my first keeper. Nice sized fish. Like, you know, when it was 18 inches plus, those fish were, you know, they were big, you know, good sized fish. But when I caught this one yesterday, I'm like, that's right in the perfect eating size, you know? So that's in the new slot. So that was good. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute for this place to heat up in here, but I got the old sunflower style heater, as you can see there. Those ones tend to be very toasty, although I find they're prone to problems. Yeah, my hut is, Darren's asking, why is my hut so frosted? I have left this hut out here for a couple of days, more than a couple of days. I kept on being, you know, telling myself I'm going to take my son out to this hut. And I don't know if you guys recall last week, but water was coming up through the holes. And guess what? It's frozen in here so good, so good. It would take a tornado to move this thing. I've been pretty down about it, actually. I've been thinking to myself, like, this is going to take me a long time to get this thing out of here. But as you can see, it's really cold. I'm actually going to close the door back behind me here. And then I'm going to start fishing. You know, that's the way we do it here. But yeah, my hut is very frozen into the ice right now. The water came up and sunk a lot of it. I was trying to chip things out the other day, and I got some of the stuff inside my hut out. But this is why, I've been using these pop-up huts for years, but this is sort of why I switched to the clam flip-up, is because you go out, for one guy, it's easy to pop up, you know, pack it up, take it back in. Whereas for me, where I am with the pop-up, when it's just me, and if it's windy or something like that, I'll be like, well, I can see it from my window, so I'll just leave it out. for a few days and go get it on a nicer day. But this time it's burned me, and that's actually the second time this has burned me this year. I'm lucky enough to have a couple of people who are going to be letting me make use of their permanent huts around here, which is awesome because that'll solve problems like this. But I'm probably going to I've got plans to make a funny video about how to get your pop-up hut out of the ice when it's frozen in. Hopefully I'll get a chance tomorrow to come out here and chip away at it a bit and film some stuff. Anyway, I think it's time to start fishing. So I just got to set up my rod and my fish finder. I'm just going to do that and close that door so it stops being so foggy in here. All right, fish finder's in. So I got my hands on some bells and the Sebile vibratos, which have now been changed to Berkeley's. Oops, they were on sale. The Sebiles were on sale, but the Berkeley's are regular price. And here's some Zevia 0-calorie soda. I guess it's a cola, pardon me. I don't often use the word soda, except maybe I'm talking about a soda stream. All right. So, as always, I'm going to have one dead stick with a minnow on it, and in the other hole, I'm going to be actively jigging. I had some pretty good luck with a golden rattle bait yesterday. Like I said, I was filming an ice report, and I had a nice jumbo perch and keeper walleye coming. All right. I'd spend some time defrosting my gear. It's been so cold the last few days that anything I had in my shed, like my rod here, oh boy, great. My rod here was quite frosted up. Okay, let's hope this is one of those twisteroos that comes out nice and easy. Yes. So I have a better lighting setup for today, so hopefully that works out well. Now the last couple of days the perch have been biting nicely. I actually had a nice meal of perch. Got my son out here, got to show him some action when there's actually fish biting. Because I just set him up with that jaw jacker style thing that I have that's called a trigger. And what's kind of good is I sort of set that up. He was sitting in a chair, so he was a distance away from it. It wasn't like it was going to spring to his eye. But it was something that when it went off, it sort of showed him that something happened, you know, that a bite had gone down. And that got him pretty excited. He went in, he was telling his mom, like, I can feel the fish biting. All right, so I'm sending down my rattler first because you got to get it out there. Now, while I've been busy trying to chip my hut out of the ice here, I always had a rod set up, and I took frequent breaks to, you know, rest up and fish. It's sort of the way I was trying to deal with the stress of having a hut that's completely submerged in water. Okay, so one rod down. Now for my second rod, do you guys think I should use my trigger mechanism here, or should I just use this as a stand and put a bell on the rod? What do you guys think? Joel Turvitt. Awesome, you made it to the program here. Yeah, shout out to Diener, For Real Fishing's biggest fan. Yeah, all I can say is once this hut got frozen in a second time, I did feel pretty silly about it. This is something I haven't seen before. There we go. Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with myself on freezing it twice in a year. Luckily, the first time I had to get it out, it wasn't actually that bad. This time was way worse. But we'll see what happens. I'm gonna pull out the old tricks. You know, I like to get boiling water. That usually does a pretty good job of it. All right, so I'm gonna put a bell on this one just because I like that idea. I guess the other option would be to put it in the trigger and have a bell on it. But let's see how it goes with just a bell. Just gonna use a straight up jig head on this one. Sorry it's taking me so long to get set up here, but everything's gonna be going in a second and we'll be getting our fish on. It's been really, really cold up here, let me tell you. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna use this glow spoon. All right, we're gonna go glow spoon with a minnow on it is gonna be my dead stick. I find those treble hooks are kind of nice when it comes down to it. Got myself a minnow net this time, so I don't have to just stick my hand in the water. All right, down goes the minnow on the glowing spoon. And once my rods are all set up here, we're gonna turn the camera around and you guys can watch the rods. Okay. Yeah, that's the Ron Yum story, Neil. Welcome to the party. Classic Ron Yum. We might be seeing some action already. All right, so we got one dead stick in. Where did I put those bells? We're gonna put the bells on there. Yeah, my dad used to constantly be spinning the yarn of how Ron Yum caught this big fish by falling into a boat. But then I made the animation that basically described the whole situation. It's all about just having your rod in the water at all times. I've had fish strike like directly beside the boat. You know, just when you don't think you have any time to fish or anything like that, you just got to keep that bait in that water, you know. as you never know. All right, so here we are. This is what the setup looks like. Get my boots in there. Light, but I got a big light up overhead here that should illuminate us once the bite starts happening. Yeah, the last 2 days before this day, it was perch, perch, perch. And I think the closest hut to me here said that the walleyes were coming in pretty good last night. Brad Croft. Good to see you, buddy. I was wondering, where's that Brad Croft guy? I haven't heard from him in a long time. Yeah, actually, Steve Wagner, the hut that I usually use is my landlord's hut, and they just got it out the other day, and I can see it from my window. They were apparently doing pretty good on the walleye. So everybody does know I have been working on some new music. You know, I thought I Cook with Ice was going to be a one and done kind of thing, but I don't know, I'm constantly writing beats and stuff like that, so I do have some new music in the mix. And it's all fishing related. So right now, David's asking how deep I am. I am in 18 feet of water, and that's below. That's 18 feet below the ice. So it's probably about, with the ice included, 19 or so. Welcome to the party, Terry. You know, it seems to me that this time of year I get less questions about the ice, and it seems like everybody's out and about getting their fish on, you know. I'm sure there's still guys that are coming up from down south that are curious about the ice, but I think all the locals just go out and check for themselves at this point. I'm definitely enjoying the new slot, although the last two fish I caught before yesterday, they were both below it. Yeah, WH, it's actually, although it is negative 16 right now, it is actually warmer than it was yesterday. That was negative 26, I think. Overnight it was negative 30. Joshua, welcome to the party. Mike, what's cooking? Oh, I just feel a top. Yeah, well, I was busy chipping out my hut the other day, and I had my rod set up. The fish hitting, and if I had been sitting there trying to catch them, I probably would have landed a few more, but they were definitely. So yeah, I apologize for not putting out an ice report on Wednesday. I had filmed one, and then my audio was all screwed up. And to be honest with you, my kids' daycare had a few cases of COVID, and so here we go. Burn. I guarantee you he just stole my minnow. Oh, yeah. It's the charm of the bells. You guys you're gonna hear lots of bells. Yep. Minnow gone. Yeah, so my son's daycare had a few cases of COVID there, and because of my line of work, which is working with people with disabilities, I we have to be super duper duper cautious. So as soon as anybody in my family has any kind of close contact, basically we all have to get tested. So, you know, I tried to stay pretty cool about it all, and I know it seems to be spreading around like crazy now. Up here in North Bay, we barely had the first couple of waves. We barely had any cases up here. So yeah, now it's starting to get a lot closer to home. And I was, given how fast things spread around in daycare, I was certain that my son and everybody else in his daycare would have picked it up from the other kid that had it. And I think there was one more case. One more kid had it, and I haven't heard anything else since. But so yeah, I usually do a lot of my editing when I'm working a night shift. So that sort of also foiled my plan to have a report. All right, so I'm throwing down another minnow. Going on there. Needless to say, we all got tested. It was all fine. So, but who knows what's happening next, you know? Here's a funny thing. My jaw jacker is in this tent under 3 inches of ice at the moment. So I'll be boiling some water and then melting it out. To answer your question, Steve Wagner, do I eyeball where I set up, or do I use something like Navionics? I do use Navionics as my choice of app. However, a lot of the places that I like to fish out here are basically just I'll look for a likely spot and then set up there. But the thing is, the area I'm fishing is mostly just a huge clam flat, so there isn't a lot of details that I can focus on. And there is one spot close to shore that I catch a decent amount of fish off of in the spring when the season first opens, and in the summer the bass like to hang around it, but I found it to be not that profitable in the wintertime when the ice is over it. Not sure what the scoop is with that. So I basically have just tried a million different places out here, and ones that work out I mark them on my Navionics map, and I just make sure to try out these spots again. Sometimes I'll do like a real run and gun game where I'll just drill a hole, fish there for 20 minutes, and then move. I don't have a lot of time for that style anymore at the moment. South Carolina. Welcome to the party, Blair. Do you guys get ice down there? Welcome to the party, Bernie. I saw some of your pictures on the Lake Nipissing ice fishing board there. Seems like you're getting to eat some fish, eh? Hook and split shots. I think the biggest walleye I've ever seen caught, which was by Fish Chaser 67 in that video that I made there, he was using just a simple split shot and a hook and a minnow. That bell is twinkling over there. I'm hoping the fish come in here. I mean, one already stole my minnows, so somebody's down there. Like I was saying, like last couple days, there was definitely activity down there. In fact, I started to ponder that maybe the reason why the water flowed up into my tent and then froze it in here permanently is because, the universe was trying to tell me, like, stay in this spot. This is where the fish. But we'll see. Again, out here, it tends to change over time. So in the beginning of the season, it can be pretty good, and then later, not as good. I feel like a few people have told me that. Sorry, just adjusting the camera there. A few people have told me that the last couple of years, the perching hasn't been quite as fantastic as it has been in the past. I would say so as well, but I also feel like I haven't been able to fish as much because I usually, I like to take my son out, but I don't want to subject him to -30 temperatures. Whereas if I was fishing with my brother, we would walk into that, no problem, and just fish anyway. But if it's my son, I try to get him out. Coldest, -10. The last thing I want is to have the guy get all frozen up and then not like ice fishing anymore. We had the perch the one day when I went out with my son. And then when I caught, like, that was going to be our perch meal for the month or whatever. And then the next day, I caught that keeper walleye. And my son, as soon as he saw it, he was just like, let's eat that fish. He's quite hyped about eating fish, let me tell you. PB, I'm in 18 feet of water right now. Although it looks like my radar changed it to 17.9. The ice is about 15 inches, Fred. Although I have measured in a few different places, and there are a few places where it's, surprisingly less thick. Yeah. It's thick down there, let me tell you. It's definitely thick enough. I actually passed by Calendar Bay earlier today. My son was having a snooze in the car, so I decided to go for a bit of a spin. And I saw the number of huts out there on Calendar Bay. It's amazing. Even from here, I can see in a few places like these shanty cities, and I think it's cool. I like the vibe, but at the same time, it's sort of strange, Like where I am, I'm pretty far from anybody else, so I get, we get a bit of space out here. Huh. Sounds like you had a pretty darn good trip there, David Turner. You can have freezing rain tonight. Well, I find up here, it seems like every time there's a little bit of snow, they're shutting things down. I feel like back when I was a kid, like, yeah, we had snow days, but it seemed like it was a couple a year. Whereas I feel like up here, these kids are getting a lot of snow days. That's good. Jeff Burnett there. Burnett, yeah, that's right. I appreciate you showing your son the live feed there. What's his name? I'll give him a shout out. I am going to put on, let's see here. Ah, yes. I'm going to put on this guy here. It's a daddy. Caught my first walleye of the year on this Sabile Vibrato Chartreuse. I think this one might glow a little. A lot of these ones glow. This is a heavy one. It's probably one of the bigger ones they make, but it seems like I think I caught my personal best walleye on this exact lure. And right before I caught that, I caught like a 5-pound ling. All right, back to it. See, I'm not sure what the scoop is, but occasionally my phone decides to like zoom in a bit. And that's not a bad thing. But every time I try to do it like manually, it's like, it's just ridiculous. Like that. You know, I apologize, Jeff Burnett there. I did say a bad word in the last video, as I recall. I forget the exact situation. But, you know, it was inappropriate. I didn't bring any snacks out today. No, I was, if you can believe it, I was running out my door to get out here in time for this, because I'd just taken my son out for a drive and I wanted to make sure he had a good sleep. And then my ability to estimate time is not very good. Were you planning on fishing out there, Lucas Miller? Are you in one of the bungalows, or are you going to be going out on your own? Darren, how many huts do you think are on Calendar Bay right now? Because I feel like I was looking at 1,000. Is 1,000 an appropriate number? Corey, welcome to the party. Happy birthday, buddy. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate the help there, David. I often forget to ask people. I drove past Sunset Point and I was going to drive to take a look, see what was going on there. It seems a little more sparse there than Calendar Bay. I should just, once I get that drone, which I know you guys were asking last week, the drone is on back order, or pardon me, it's on pre-order. It's a new kind of drone by Autel Robotics. And when I get that, I'm going to, pop out to the different areas of the lake and fly that thing around and see what I can see as far as giving you guys a picture of the different shanty towns that are around the lake. I like the way you're thinking there, Neil. You get a real feel for what it's like to be sitting on a block of ice. So hello to Nick. Welcome to 4-Reel Fishing, the Evening Bite, live on the ice. I hope the bite's good tonight too. Oh, I see some. Oh, there's a fish looking at my stuff here. Oh, he bumped it. Oh, come on. Give it another shot. Just gonna he knows about this minnow over here. I was about to say the live stream was doing better with a few interruptions today. Then it just went off again. It's only a fish that's dancing with my lure right now. One thing I've learned about these vibratos is you barely have to move them to have them. I'm thinking, like right now, I've got a weight on the dead stick over here. Let's see if I can adjust this here. Okay, so live bait on the dead stick to the left. And then I got an unbait. Come on. I'm gonna switch my baits. That one fish is really bumped my lure. All right, I'm gonna switch it up here. Guess it's just about time for me to start turning on the lights. I'm surprised that my dead stick isn't catching more, getting more action there. Let's see, what am I gonna put down here? Something with a minnow on it, eh? Gonna throw down this buckshot rattle spoon. This one's really beat up. That's how you know it's good. It's probably one of the bigger ones I got, and it glows. Gonna put a minnow on there. All right, how you like those boots, eh? Oh, damn it. These are some of the boots I've been testing out. I got a few boots from different companies. These ones are called Nats boots. I must say they have got to be some of the lightest ice fishing boots I've ever had on as far as weight is concerned. But I do have some concerns about their quality control. One boot seems to be taller than the other one. And then I think that's probably it. There's like little bits. I think it's the way they make the boots. They're molded or something. I don't know. So when they mold them like that, I guess they have a few plasticky bits sticking out that they didn't quite trim off perfectly. They're fairly warm. I had these boots sent to me by this company called Bass Dash. And I thought for sure, like, yeah, these would be a good fall boot for hunting or whatever. But I've been actually wearing them out here on the ice. I'm kind of surprised that they seem to be handling the cold a lot better than I expected. Ultimately, I would always say that the Baffin Titans are some of the finest boots you're going to get out here on the ice, but they're also very heavy. They're very warm, but they're very heavy. So I've been sort of questing for other boots that aren't as heavy that are still suitable for extremely low temperatures, you know? I imagine when you have that many huts all together in one place that the fish. Yeah, you know, Blair, I've been thinking about doing some more interviews with local people. I've talked a lot to the guy from Northern Tackle Supply, dude by the name of Josh McKay, and he's been donating a lot of the lures that are in the prize packages that I'm offering. And I wanted to interview him about his little business there, which is growing very quickly. I was also, the plan is I'm going to interview the new owner of Billy Bob's Baits. And I was set up to interview the guy from North Bay Outfitters, but then the COVID hit and we haven't really talked about it since. But I've been meaning to do that. I had a lot of big plans for this past ice report season, to have a whole bunch of videos done, ready to go. And I don't know if I failed. I guess I failed to get them all completed in time. And one of them was to do a whole bunch of interviews. I did complete a bunch of reviews, but not as many as I'd hoped. Yeah, like each one of those Baffin Titans, Lucas, they got away at like 4 pounds a piece, maybe 5. But you do feel like you could walk through just about anything in them, as long as it was super cold, you know? Huh. That doesn't sound like a very successful trip there, Chris. The fish, they're always playing those kinds of games on people. Sometimes I come out and it's like you get skunked. And at least for me, I guess I'm just walking out. So it's, not so bad, but every once in a while, those fish will show you that they're not hungry today, you know? No problem, Nick. Thanks for watching, buddy. I hope you like fishing as much as I do. It's definitely my happy place, you know? Place, you know? So far we've had one minnow stolen. Just reeling up my bell line here, make sure there's still a minnow on there. There is some. So this spring, I got it lined up with my dad. We're going to be going to Rice Lake, and I'm going to be fishing for carp. I'm pretty hyped. All right, I'm turning on the light. There we go. Wow, that's a lot brighter. Yeah, I've missed the carp fishing adventure for 2 years now, and I'm hurting. I'm hurting to catch some monster carp. I'm really looking forward to it. Uh-huh. When I was standing up there, I felt something happening, but I thought I was just getting my rod or my line tangled up in the float for my fish finder there. It was somebody stealing my minnow. All right. Is anyone else who's watching right now? Oops. Is anyone else who's watching right now actually fishing? Or is it just me? There's probably somebody watching here is fishing as we speak. Chris Hall, so far I've had 2 minnows stolen from me. And I had 1 fish that bumped my lure. So it seems like they're down there, but they're not really aggressive at the moment. So I'm not sure what everybody else plays when they're present but not aggressive. Guess maybe downsized lure, maybe put a minnow head on instead of a full minnow. Yeah, the Masuda rods have been holding up great. I actually had my son walk around with one when he was extremely active, and it held up for a good long time before he managed to wedge it into something and break it in half. But those are stresses a regular rod probably never would see. Definitely the Masuda rods. I don't know. I think they're very well designed. I think they look fantastic. I haven't had any problems with them, and I'm enjoying them. And I'm probably going to give another one away in one of the upcoming ice reports. So play your cards right there, Darren. You just might get one. Yeah, on Wednesday I was out here in that crazy wind and snow, and that's my big plan was to get my hut out of here. So my plan was to chip it out, and then with that wind, I realized that the second I pop this thing up, I'm gonna go flying. Yeah, definitely. There's some huge carp in Rice Lake, and lots of them. We would go and just set up. Our carp rigs aren't as fancy as those European carpers who basically take a wheelbarrow full of gear to where they're going and then start fishing. And they have really expensive reels, really expensive rods. I just got some longer rods, and the most important part, oh, I got a fish looking at my stuff. Come on. There's a juicy minnow on there. Oh, he kissed it. Oh, don't tell me you got the minnow that time. Come on. Seems like all my neighbors are going in. There's still a fish down there. Come on. He must have totally got my minnow. Let's take a look. Nope. Minnow's still on. he definitely bumped it, so I'm definitely getting lookers down there. Just nobody's committing. Dead stick isn't. I just rattled that myself. Sorry if that was misleading. Whoops. You know, interesting thing on Rice Lake. The last time I was there, and it must have been just a raft of cattails or something, but it floated across the lake. It was like an island that was floating, but it looked like an island. It was crazy. One time I've ever seen that, but I've been to places where there's thick enough vegetation that you can walk on it, but it's all water underneath. Barbecuing. What do you got on the barbecue there, Mr. Brick Boy? Curtis, are you catching anything where you are? My brother used to really like Rice Lake for walleye there. And I came for a trip one year and discovered that there's tons of carp in there. And then it became a huge carp thing. Just every year I show up, sit on the dock, get out my carp gear. Like I think I was saying that the bait runner style reels are sort of what you want to use for those carp. So they grab it and let's line out. They hit hard like a ton of bricks, and they fight hard. And he can catch like 10 of them in a day. It's great. It seems to me that the clam flats do hold fish, Brad, but sort of in a transient way, if you will. They definitely cruise across the flats. I assume, like, there's a lot of perch that I've caught out here whose bellies would be full of snails. So there must be just hordes of snails down there. Nicholas, I've had several minnows stolen, but the fish haven't been really committing to this yet. I'll give them a few minutes. The line that I'm using now. Sorry. It's got a tangle in my line. It's a braid. I usually use a braid with fluorocarbon leader. A couple feet of that. I'm trying to think of which braid this one is. I think it might be a Berkeley braid. And I don't think it's necessarily unique to ice fishing. All right. Let's see if we can convince a picky fish to finally grab my hook. What do we got? Okay. Gonna downsize to this rattle spoon. Very small. UV and glow. And I'm gonna put nothing but a minnow head on there. I got a big pot of chili going at home. So dinner is gonna be ready to go. I don't know about you guys, but I really like cooking. something I like doing. I like food. Tastes great. I've got some friends who are like super duper, or maybe it's just one friend. One friend who's like a super duper skinny guy. And he says he doesn't really like food that much, and that he wishes it just came in pill format. I think that's just crazy, to be honest with you. I think food is one of the greatest things in life. I don't know. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Thanks, John. Yeah, I know. It seems like the fish is down there. There's at least one fish down there, and he's getting his dinner. And I'm hoping to catch him before I go in. But we'll see. Like I said, chili's ready to go, so I don't have to worry about cooking anything. Potatoes and chops. You cooking those potatoes on the barbecue? I like to try to cook just about everything on the barbecue if I can. One time I came up with the idea to cut potatoes into steaks, put a bit of olive oil on them and salt and pepper, garlic. They actually staked up pretty good. You got the grill marks on those potatoes. You had to sort of keep adding a bit of oil though as you went carefully. You set your striker, sorry, I'm just reading Vintage Biker here. You set your striker on Ultra Scroll. Huh. That's interesting. You know, just to answer you there, Chris, that little propane tank, I believe it's one of these things that wasn't cheap. Like for the size, it's almost more expensive than a 20 pound. I think it might have been 65 pounds for that little propane tank there. I just got it filled up today. I got it in a 20 pounder filled, and it cost me $34 or something like that. But I've gone through a whole variety of these heaters, and the reason why that is because I find that they're nice and warm, they work really well, but they get messed up really easy. Especially they've got some sort of sensor inside them that turns them off if they get knocked over, which makes sense. Hold on, there's a fish. Now he's gone. Anyway, they've got a sensor on them that can get messed up, that turns it, like stops it from turning on if it is knocked over. And sometimes, sorry, I got a fish coming here. Fish is looking at it. Do it. He's coming in. Making him chase it a little bit. Sorry, I'm forgetting to breathe here. Come on. That's it. Just bite it. He's following it. you guys can see. Sorry. Another good thing about this Masuda rod is it shows up really well on camera, I think. Come on. Oh, yes. Oh. Uh-oh. He's tangled up my other line. Nice. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, no, no. Oh, boy. So what happened here is that I seem to have a fish on. Oh. But he's tangled up in both my lines. All right. So there's the fish, okay? The fish did come. It's a walleye. So he's tangled up in both my lines. And so obviously he's a throwback. All right, buddy. So there you go. Little walleye. Back you go. Now I gotta try to figure out in what ways are my lines tangled here. Okay, I think I might have fixed it. Oops. Okay. Okay. That should solve the problem here. Okay. Well, let's get everything back down there. Okay. Well, that's a little bit of excitement. Got to say something happened. It only took an hour, right? It's barely any time. You know, I wonder if I have any split shots out here. Looks like there might be some more action down there. Oh, there is. Huh. Chuck Webster. You say you're done with buddy heaters, eh? It's funny because I had these heaters for many years, and then I said I'm done with these things, and I switched to buddy heaters. But this, I find the buddy heater just in this big hut isn't nearly as hot. This thing can really pump out the heat. Brazilian ice fishing, eh? Is that them, like, they must have to go to the top of a mountain or something. Or I might have seen that. Is it where they're fishing over these vegetative mats that is over top of water and they just drill a hole in it and fish through it like it's ice fishing? I think I've seen that. So I'm trying to think of, sorry, I didn't answer. Oop. Yeah. All right. Nice jumbo. Look at that perch. I wasn't expecting one of those guys. All right. Well, we're going to be holding on to that perch, I think. I'm going to reuse that minnow. What do you got? So that perch, I'm going to say, is at least an 11. Going to measure him up. Oops. Sorry for that. Okay. Ha. So that's a 12-y. Nice perch. If I catch a couple more of those guys. All right. There we go. Okay. There's some fish down there. Sorry, oops. My bad. All right. Let's see here. Just gonna check my minnow. Minnow's tail is still on there. There's definitely some fish down there. I see two on there as we speak. Or at least there was two. One's looking at it right now. Yeah, that is the Canadian Tire heater. Sorry. I guess there was fish action there, that's why I got interrupted there. Yeah, that's the Canadian Tire special. Not sure the exact brand, it's probably Woods or something. That could be Remington. White jig and a shiner, eh? Sounds like a good combo. I know I used to run into Rob Hyatt there, who used to run Rob's ice fishing charters. And he used to take some of my guys, the guys I was supporting, out ice fishing. And he would always swear he's this white jig head. In the summertime, it's like white jig head, blob of worms. And he really stressed on the blobbiness of the blob of worms. He's like, make sure, instead of like going for a natural look, he was just like, just get it on the hook as many times as you can, and you will succeed. And then wintertime, same thing. Jig, white jig head and a minnow. That's all he ever did. I was on a stint there where I was brewing beer, actually, Jeff. There's even a period in my life where I had applied to college to become a brewmaster. I made the waiting list, but I didn't make it into class, and that's probably a good thing. But yeah, I think the coolest beer I ever made was a spruce beer, and that actually had spruce tips in it. Very tasty. These days I find beer just sort of bloats me up too much, so I don't drink too much of it. There's definitely a fish down there. I'm sure you guys see me playing with it, but it doesn't seem to want to get into there too much. Maybe it's just a salamander. I don't know. This happens too, you know? Yeah, I definitely feel like the weather, you know, in the time we needed really cold weather, it was giving us warm weather. And now it's just like, oh, we saved up all our super cold weather for once January hit, and now you're getting smoked hard by it. I think on Rice Lake we were on the south end of it, a place called like Cedar something Lodge, Red Cedar Lodge, Twin Cedar Lodge, something like that. Oh, there's definitely a fish down there. Oh, he's following it. He's looking at it. Come on, take a shot. Take the shot. Oh no! He probably totally got my minnow off. Darn it. So he definitely took a shot, but then he probably took my minnow and ran. Okay, that's okay. Got a bunch of minnow chunks right here ready to go. When you say roost burger, when you say what's a good setup for fishing Nipissing, are you talking like what kind of gear is like rods are appropriate, or lures, or huts, or everything? I usually fish with a relatively like a medium or medium heavy rod. That's sort of my personal preference. Yeah, sorry, Steve Wagner, as far as measuring that perch was concerned, I know a lot of times when you have a perch down there, it's in your best interest to get your lure down as fast as you can as soon as you caught it, because you know that they're in a school down there usually, although there are days when I just get, you know, single fish showing up. Yeah, Jeff, in regards to the heater there, I usually find that these ones don't last that long. I mean, given they are, you know, $50 or whatever on sale, but I do find that that there's a way, and I don't recommend this, But if the sensor gets gummed up, which is usually the biggest thing that screws up these heaters, is that there are ways to fix it, or at least, yeah, it's a safety mechanism, right? But sometimes it just decides it needs to be too safe, and the result is, in any position, it'll just assume that it's tilted over, and that's, I guess, essentially, once you figure out how to fix that, then you'll probably get some more time out of your heaters, but it's not always easy to do. That sounds like a delicious meal there, Brad. I've made a few different things with perch, like a curry as well. Oh, come on. I betcha that guy stole my minnow, or at least the minnow chunk. No, still got a chunk on. I'm fishing with just a minnow head here. They're definitely down there doing a nibble. I think, I am going a little long on my broadcast here, but how can you walk away when you just had a nibble? It's just not that easy. So I'm surprised that my dead stick here isn't producing more. I always feel like just the minnow down there is gotta be would just seem too easy to not take advantage of, if I was a fish. It's strange with the mud puppies. I catch them out here every once in a while. It's almost the same as ling out here. Some years I'll catch like 2 to 3 of them, and then I'll go a year or two where I catch none, like absolutely zero. Just watching the snowmobile go past here. I remember hearing a story about I think it was last year, a year or two ago, some guys were just hanging out in their ice hut trying to get their fish on, and then some clown drove into their hut with a truck. Like they had one of these pop-ups and he drove right through it. Oh, can you imagine? I can't. That would be quite the thing to see or to be a part of. But yeah, so the mud puppies I get them every once in a while. Some years it seems like there's real surge in mud puppies. Okay, I got another fish down here looking at it. Come on. Just trying to do real subtle movements here. Yeah. Didn't go for it. That's a good tip there, Darren. I'm going to do that right now. I do have, just to answer your question there, Jacob, I do have all my vents open right now, and they're pretty good vents. I definitely say there's a few gusts coming through, so I'm pretty confident that we've got some pretty solid air in here. I had this other heater that just looked like a big ball and sat on top of your propane tank, and I swear it sucked up all the oxygen in the tent while you were in there. You couldn't be in there with it for too long. Huh. The sriracha will break down the fish and make it mush, eh? It's funny because one time when I was camping, I didn't have an egg, so I had to use sriracha to glue the breading to the fish. It worked pretty well, and it was spicy, nice and spicy. You know, guys, I think I'm gonna put in about 5 more minutes here, and then it's might be time to go and get some chili. Chili, chili, chili. I'm on 360 Outdoors. I'm on the north side of the lake between North Bay and Sturgeon. A nice 16-incher would be good. Thanks for the $2.79 there, Corey. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's interesting with these live chats because they have this super chat thing where I guess people can pay or whatever, and then it put your comment at the top for a minute or something. I don't know. So you know, it's nifty to get donations. It's interesting to get. Usually when I'm doing these live streams, I didn't even really think about that, but then I see, you know, I see one and I'm like, oh, there's a number at the top where it shows you shows you how much people are paying or tipping you, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? It's kind of funny, Neil. My son often asks for chili, but then once it's in the bowl, he's just sort of like, okay. And he doesn't really eat it, but he asks me for chili a lot. So I asked him if he wanted me to make another big pot of chili. He said he did. So chili is definitely a perfect ice fishing kind of meal, you know? Sort of like a soup, but heartier, you know, way heartier. All right, so in 2 minutes, I'm gonna be wrapping it up. Yeah, as far as those mud puppies are concerned, there's something weird about them, you know? They seem like they came out of the egg just a little bit too early. They're not quite fully formed when you catch them. They look like kind of, I mean, they're slimy, but they look kind of otherworldly, I guess. I might have to put some ice in that chili. It's gonna be real hot. All right, folks. Well, I think it's time. I'm gonna do a couple of very broad jigs here. And these are the final jigs of the program. All right, I'm doing a super jig. Yeah, thanks for purchasing one of those hats. I keep on hoping that Billy Bob's is going to call me and say, we're out of hats. We need more hats. And I'll be like, sweet. Sweet, the hats are moving. So I appreciate the purchase. I'm sitting on a big box of hats here. So far, Billy Bob took 10 off my hands, but I got a few people telling me they're going to take a bunch. But yeah, it's kind of fun having a box of hats. All right, so we're wrapping it up now. Thanks a lot for showing up. Hopefully things were all right volume. Sometimes I realize that I'm putting this mic real close to my chin, so it might sound a lot like a beard. Anyway, hope you guys have a great night. I'm gonna be packing it up and going for some chili. We'll talk to you guys next week. Plan to do another live broadcast, so we'll see you then. And as well, on Sunday I'll be doing a nice report. I also have an interview I did with the guy who won the grand prize this year. You'll be seeing that very shortly. And yeah, ice reports Saturday or Sunday and Wednesday. Have a great night.